train running on a reckless rail, speeding right into the rising gale. Shovel harder 'cause we're on your tail. London's bloody cry. Steam train running on a reckless rail, speeding right into the rising gale. Shovel harder 'cause we're on your tail. London's bloody cry.
Good morning, or whatever it is, wherever you are. I keep not getting around to getting something else set up, but we've got plenty of work to do here. We're going to want a misc compiler. We're going to want a map as soon as. All right, looks like the life logs are done. And we have to do that here because we've got the environment variables. Still working. Still working. That's just web server on demand. All right, so we've got some backend support now for chain filters. So we need a whole bunch of support that in the front end. We have to have. I don't know if I don't necessarily have a use for a chain filter, a general purpose chain filter. Unless you, well, I guess you could do min and max. But mainly I just want to do ease right now, so that's a checkbox. Of course, if you define a checkbox, you have to define a message. To define a message, you probably want something model to save it. I don't know that this just has to go to the map. Okay, so you have fetched all the stuff. Processing map stuff. This is where I want to see it, know where I put it. Well, can we start at the model side? Model. This would be with life selection. Get a visible play option. Like, server? This is life selection stuff. Serverless servers, selected server. Right, because I put that into serverless. That's kind of with server and with time. Right, and I think selection element. Sidebar, search term, time mode, time mode, time mode, time mode. Get into other stuff. Now I could do this internally as a chain. That'd be the selection. It's going to be a better map to the UI. I put the init here. I did. Init. We'll send a message to update, which will process it. So crush type time. That's more a visual thing. Our update has to handle that. Toggle UTC. Toggle ease only. This will not cause any immediate change. This will just get worked into our eventual query. Okay, that compiles. So this needs to be in the data section. Well, I guess for layout. I probably actually could look at it while that was running. Time range, server. More akin to time range. But it might just be a checkbox for now. And maybe we'll eventually accumulate just other options. Date range select. Server select presets. Well, it's not really any of those things. Hours text, reverse log slider, select, time, arcs, server time, server select. There's a radio row. Right, because that's the two option. You were boot. And you were probably inside something. That was the entire cosmetics panel. Well, that was the entire cosmetics panel. In a column, well, it'll be fine by itself. Well, there should probably be something here, because maybe we end up with multiple options. Yeah, now you see your height fill. How about, oh, like presets? The column. Unchain. Toggle E only. Okay, that is done. Not arc file. Think. Oh, and actually, I'm not set up to need the server just to load up the UI now. Ah, it ran those files off static. Checked is only. Okay, so did that compile? Happened real fast. Yeah, okay. That doesn't do anything yet. Huh. I'll pick that as the most recent. Am I not updating my data? Oh, maybe I was pointing. Maybe I was pointing you at the other thing. No, that doesn't. Dot and local output dir be there. Okay, you're updated. I didn't get around to doing monuments. Monuments test. Of course, this one's kind of like synced up to the database. So Maybe not a perfect sync. Anyway. My actual data query. What did I call that? Not the surge. What show? Because maybe internally that should be named something. Select show, fetch data for time based on model, fetch data layer. URL, selected server, start time, end time. This is we have to include or not include an item based on this. Hmm. So that's going to be URL cross origin. I did not design this to be easy for the clients. I think we have to establish a new precedence area. Then do end concat. So in argument order, where the thing we kind of, well, actually argument order doesn't matter. Concatenate a bunch of lists into a single list. Maybe that's what we want. First, then we have the list of lists. See, precedent still requires that we do something with the have this thing know what its argument is. Then you are either, as we need an argument. Serial, server time, start time, end time. Only. Then we have no, you're in. Chain one. Else. This could even be one. Now, this is technically a simplified version of. It's kind of parent IED equals null, but how do you pass null through? Fetch data layer. Time. You don't like something. Nope. Got narrow. That really has become quite the nasty. Oh, well, yeah, those are the only eves in that period. All right. Uh, back into another arc. Well, that's our normal eves for 7 days. Well, plus a few tutorials. So in theory, we could allow longer selections with this. Maybe over an entire arc would be a full measure. Oh, last one was pretty light too. Versus what we had before. Yep, that's the web. So, well, with the data updates, maybe that was less than a half hour. I just knew it would be a lot of little. Now, I don't necessarily have a good way to restrict it to non-Donkey Town Eves. I don't have an easy way to. You have to go, well, is this that far from here? And might turn into a clustering problem. Uh, recently. Now, unfortunately, I don't remember. All right, so we don't want our So this should be, I don't think I had any, actually I don't think I had any of this last time. Maybe you. Do we have that data? Oh wait, it was actually getting data for that? The index might have. Server ID. So when we do that, that's going to get handled by select life. Select matching life. Focus, time range, life range. Oh, you know what? I have so much stuff on select server that I keep doing this. So that might be another thing. automatically setting server may not end up being the same thing as user selecting server, but it's all we got right now. So we've got a model update. We've got a bunch of extra commands, which don't get passed through to those updates. Focus, time range, map time. Select server might update some of those things as well. First start time, map time. Well, still, I might want to do this second. M2, all right, model. That shouldn't matter. Oh, okay, problem. Both of these are going to do navigation up, which means I kind of do need to handle this better. Okay, so I have to do the refactoring first. Because I need to do all of the updates that. Oh, and this turns off data layer. That's data layer, yes. Oh, and I need to do this like if we're actually changing servers. We'll still have to send this. This will have to get compressed into one. What? Oh. All right, so select server where we're using this over. We probably shouldn't be doing it by sending updates. Require all our data. Update the range of server range controls. We update the data status of a couple things here. So that's why that us update. So if we change servers, our data is going to become invalid. But you know what? Data is just a false right. I could put data server ID. I'd have to use like a -1 or something. Well, I'm probably using that for visible. Right, 'cause that's sort of a representation of data that I've. Oh, because it's. Yeah. Oh, but you have data false. It can be loading, it can be data true. No data layer is data false. Wouldn't I put that back to like not requested? I was forgetting how I was using it. Yeah, this is like an abstract representation of data that I didn't actually parse in. Data false. Data layer, okay, live. Fetch data layer equals loading, loading, loading. Not equal to not requested. So that's actually data false is different. No data layer. That's the response message. Yeah, I think it could actually be like back to not requested. That lets me represent the false state, so to speak, better. Well, it's okay, we have data, but we're not showing it. Oh, actually, oh yeah, we do. So yeah, we sort of have data, but we're not showing it. And this turns into a case because we can't do an exact equal. Well, I guess I could say if not equal to data this server ID. Yeah, oh, you'd have to know which server your lives were. We've got a server ID we could do. Server ID. Okay, yes, you've got a server ID as well. So then, our model. Oh, what does view use this? Data, we don't care. Not much. Remote data int. Data true. Data false. Loading, 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 loading. Requested, loading. Equals data true. Really, this is if it equals data anything that's not equal to our server ID. We have data server ID. Command.none. Data anything else is clear it. And then all other states should generally be clear it. Rather, we don't need to do anything because it's like loading. Not requested. Okay. I see how it is. We're still got a data true somewhere. Lineage live. They're still on a server, but do we know this when we request them? No. No, wait. Life.server ID. One is int and there is a bool. Oh, Are you basing that on actual experience there? Imagine the world we actually have. That was like Lucy? All right, so what we were really testing. Well, it's one of the things we changed. That was changing our data representation. Probably just because I noticed that that was weird. I wonder if like data layer visible should be separate from have data. I can't resend because I didn't keep it. Well, I guess I could keep the data around. Value. All right, select server, select server. So we have to require our data and then update all this stuff. As part of updating that, we want to clear the data layer if it doesn't match. We're going to need to do a URL update. And we are definitely changing servers, so we have to do that. And that should imply this. Why don't you put up with two URL updates? Well, the problem is they can like trigger URL change messages and possibly have loopback effects. You really don't want to do that more than you need. I'd arrange to keep some sort of like year of the last information used to determine the URL. Oh, did I put you in view because we have to generate that as well? No, let me put it in model now. Yes. Well, it is ultimately a string. You'd still have to recalculate a lot of stuff to do it. We do kind of know where it's going to change. I can't like include that in whatever function we're going to use to select server. Everybody who calls that has to. Unless I have like some sort of like model field that's like invalidate URL. And then the update can check that every time to do it once. As a select server was doing our rebuild world. That yeah, it's going to generate commands all over the place. We have all of our fetches. We might need to update our data layer. Kind of like to replace URL once. Well, I guess since this includes a replace URL, could do the other updates first. Start time, data layer, player. Might not be technically in conflict here. I still shouldn't be really calling a view function. On loopback like this. That nothing was. Was it a valid server ID? Then this replace URL would serve that. This would send focus in current time. No time noted. That order would work, but that navigation update. It's almost like a trap to go, oh, well, that's going to change the URL, so we should. We do or don't do that. Server list. If we had it, then if we had a server go to it. This is if the route is different than selected servers. This is one of those places I'm worried about the loopback effect. Actual UI select server. Server list. Server route. UI. And now lives can. Oh, server route. Probably shouldn't send a navigation URL anyway. So I think we're coming down to we need to have a step that doesn't do that. And for that matter, well, I think that server list, yeah, it might be picking a default, so that might matter. So this is updating our internal representation. We're going to have to leave the navigation out. This is all Model 2, Model 2, Model 2, Model 2, Model 2, Model 2. This is entirely determined by model. I might need it for some kind of... I'm going to have like probably have shorthand versions of this that are using local information in places. Model, 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 point. But the point is just center again. Model for a time, but the time is just put in here. Check default center. Yeah, that's actually changing something. But replace URL could really just be in terms of model. That could, there's no reason to put that in the model package, I guess. Even though we have some of the routing. We have the URL method there. You wouldn't be able to like type the command. Somewhere around there. Combine route, change route. Now I might want to do this so that it could streamline into a model commands series for several kinds of updates. So you're just going to take, well, you see that you don't have to do the models 2 stuff in more places. Focus, time range. Map time. You've already got an M2. Got it from. Center. I guess this is where the sort of like flow through model command could be more convenient. Like this is just doing a modified model. And then sending that model on that command. Your command batching a whole bunch of stuff. There's a map time. I guess we'd actually want to do that, wouldn't we? There's a let in already. We just don't use this if it doesn't come down to it. You're using map time. We've got a let here. This will make it a little bit easier to like look at all of these and see some of these are similar and some of them aren't. There's a center. You're partly for. You're a center. For time. You're a time with notice. And setting some other things. Where to go? What's one of the ones that was formatted a little weird? Right. It's probably just confused by spacing because the compiler does that. Yep. All right, so in and of itself, that just, well, that consolidates all that update logic because we were calling that URL set all over the place. Yeah, so the awkward thing is, like, it'd be nice to have, like, update time, updates. What if you need to a life update is going to update the center server possibly in time. Can I treat this as straight up routing? Can we do this internally? No, we cannot. Now, maybe I'm not using all of the power of the navigation module. That URL. Which changes the address bar without starting a page load. Push URL changes the URL but lets you keep the current HTML. Not trigger a page load. Add new entry to history. Do not trigger, wait, not trigger a page load, but this adds an entry to history. Well, maybe for lives, because like I didn't want to do like you dragged around your drags are all history. Server changes. Go back some number of pages. Load, reload, reload, and skip cache. Yeah, they assume you're handling all of this stuff. Now, maybe I could have something that's like I might be changing the URL, so respond to all of that appropriately. Oh, select server part doesn't have the same server check as is. Server route. So yeah, your checking is equal. This is the thing that probably doesn't need to do a replace URL. The data layer stuff was maybe Yeah, so I only called from a couple of places, so we can. I guess the question is, do we want to do this as a sort of like a command batch chain? That would get rid of this Model 2 business. And I could even have that check for things like if server ID not equal to current server. What else do we have? Well, no. We'd have to have the last recorded URL stuff. So that would sort of be like the URL cache thing. Maybe you just wouldn't call it every time. You'd still only call it when you think something changed. But then you could just treat it as state updates and have it figure out what events. Oh, here's something else. Well, this is leaflet communication. Well, if Leaflet had a cache of things it believed, or we believed that had been sent to Leaflet, we might have to call like a Leaflet sync or something. And that would still have to be in our state, like two copies of things we believe to the current state of the URL, and things we believe are the current state of Leaflet. Which would have the advantage that we could kind of treat things as model updates. And much like the view, they would just kind of work themselves out. I'd just have to project a leaflet model and like a route model every time we called that. I could compare it to what was sent. Or we do it like message. Well, URL would have to kind of have to be leaflet. I guess you could go message by message, fact by fact. Yeah, because this replace URL thing is looking real word. I'm back to the command model command. This is mostly done with other stuff. We're just adding another layer to things. Don't forget that. So often do. So that rewrites a bunch of these as you just pipe off of this thing. You weren't even a command batch. Yeah, you were another one we had to extract. All right, you were already in M2. What server? That's pre-state. Why not need M2 here? I'll give you the final one, I guess. You were getting a command from the server update. And this could be put back in line. Oh, precisely because I need to use this in replace. Or L. Yeah, you're an especially trivial case. Caps lock. Another one that's probably just a move. And then this is a single command again. There's another trivial M2. This is actually changing it. This is we actually do need to update the URL here. Check default center, not a. So that is, you are also a flow through thing. Set time. So maybe this needs to be like set server. And a parable to this. This is actually kind of the same thing I set up set time for. We're doing it in a bunch of places. Model.map time. We've got this check, so we can see if it needs to be done. I guess there's room to break things here. Oh, fetch. What? How do we do that? Did we change some message ordering somewhere? Right, oh no, this is actually expected. We're on server 1. Not jumping around servers. Oh, only one at this time. Jump to some other time span. The map updates things. Server updated things. Time updates update things. I think that this pretty much undoes a lot of the work we just did. So I guess the first step is to just get this pulled out. Set time. Select arc. Play relative to time. That's pretty close to just a set time. Press time, start time, hours period. No, this is an argument. So set time was a full pass through. And I might end up rearranging that. Set time has a bunch of time helpers. Dict.get server ID is an actual server, an actual integer. We were calling an update function before. we've already got the model command message flow set up everywhere else we're using. Now here's an interesting question. I'm doing a get here. You've got an ID. Your ID. Well, your ID might be just an ID. Your ID might be just an ID. So that's fine. I guess I should get this to work as is. Oh, I did not update URL. Server is not found. That's a choice. We are responding to it. The problem is parentheses. Well, I've been thinking the replace URL part really needs to move outside of this. Anyway? Well, I haven't actually integrated the rest. Select server. Okay, so you become that server ID. You are only of a model. Makes me wonder. Well, we actually do want this to be a no op. Oh, and I want a pools check in. You're developing a model too. You have no command. This is doing its own little model update. Can we reframe this? That server ID of all that stuff. And you are only a UI operation. And if we need to do anything that's UI specific, we can do it there. Set server. Oh, we were able to use. Okay. Oh, that did some time changes on. We found a time with no. That's one step. As much as I don't want to have to think about updating the URL, there are places where we don't want to do that. Like from server route. Now you are from server list. Server list comes in and doesn't have the user's server. Well, we replaced a thing that was doing replace URL. So it's mainly from the route. That time update URL? Oh, well, it does. That would be inconsistent. Have to think very carefully. Either this and or the other thing need to. Oh, I was calling you serverless, which does not necessarily change the selected server ID. That one actually needs to do all the work. I need water. Back a little bit. Will very often be compiled in production production deployments. Here I am not compiling it, in part because the game itself shipped with a feature that included it that way. But one of the there's a peculiarity in the way that interacts with the runtime environment here, where refreshing the page, all those file fetches will still be cached. Thankfully, the debugger has a feature to disable cache.
Oh, this is nice. I'm using this. Oh, I'm using this. I have the most sparkly baton in the history of sparkly batons. I am the ultimate alien majorette. Look at this.
Who gave you that?
Yes, I got this somehow.
Right click. Right click.
Oh, that's nice. But I have a sparkly Mrs. Briz, I have sparkly. Oh my goodness. It's so sparkly. Oh, I feel like a pretty princess. Yay!
What is going on with Lost Prophet?
It's so sparkly, you guys.
Welcome back. We've got two things. We've got this abstract concept of which server we're going to start out on. And we might not have data for that. When the data comes in, our server isn't going to change. But in general, we don't want to do a lot of extra work if our server actually changes. That time doesn't have to do a whole lot of work necessarily. Oh, well, there is a get operation here. That will not succeed. But where do we remember that? Oh, right. And I was thinking we'd also handle this nothing case by moving this outside the function. Track displayed server separate from selected. And could displayed server not be a well, if I hadn't displayed anything, it would still have to be a server route model.selected server not equal to the maybe server from the route. We've already got a check here. We don't have too many concerns about other things. Well, until we maybe start reusing the function. Such as for selecting lives, where you might be on the same server, you might not. So maybe we have to do this check in lives where we know we're probably actually changing things. Other function gets used places where we might just be getting our data for the. So we still have to do the work. Well, I could cheat that one case. We're already getting current, we're getting an ID. Setting a server. Problem here. Might be time selection for time. You care about not only deals with art. No, there's time selection around. That doesn't deal with server ranges, it's seen. So I could cheat this, say selected server none, then I could do a seems. You know what? That's playing games. I don't know if I like that. Maybe we actually need something like a. Well, the force parameter is kind of gimpy too, but having that sort of hidden workaround seems like something that would bite you later. Or our model keeps if we successfully just. We're doing a model update anyway. It would kind of be just for this function. All right, so now set server can say, does this server ID our displayed server? That will only happen if we go through this case. Selected server, but we weren't able to display anything. I guess that will fail the comparison check. Can I work that into the dict get? But still to nothing. Because if it's not, anyway, else. Oh, that else case is not doing a pass through. Well, I need to work on correcting that. I just got moved. If it's not equal, we do stuff. Actually, we probably. Well, I think I'm using not equal. Of course, this is going to turn around and set it to nothing. But right, if we're not able to find it in our server list, and then we get our servers later, That's what we want. The command is a request to set server. Guess we're counting display server as also being our URL. All right, syntax change. And now, if we go to select matching life, so that would not update the URL for this in certain cases where information was might be the problem there. Okay, that did a fetch. Okay, that we're just we didn't properly update there. Right, you're just going to server. You're not jumping to anything. At least not to time. Did I break this earlier? Okay, so this is probably a we forgot to pass through commands case. Server commands none. So that goes into here. That goes into here. So if this is just batching in command none, that's fine. You get command, you get command. And that's not the kind of thing that would be fixed by the kind of abstraction I'd about. That is definitely search life collection sets server. I abstracted it. Model command might be a day in and of itself. Near future. That might actually be a JavaScript thing. That's monuments by time. Base layer by or world.msn. So the problem is not that. This is actually objects that don't continue. We choose that layer. Aha. No, spans never have no end. That's based on actual map data. There is always a always the last chunk. Got a milliseconds, we've got a last span end. The world hasn't ended. We're past the end of the span. I just picked the last one. Might be weird if you went way out in the future. But it'd still be showing the biomes. World.spans. Oh, we're not guaranteed to have any span. Well, an index would just fail then. So when we go up, gosh, what's in there? Yeah, 1 hour before now. Definitely no data there. I was thinking of doing like a 24-hour limit on that or something. Get the life data. Realistically, there's some kind of cutoff point. Nope. I have notes checked in. Said near future there. All right, command updates. And we're actually going to hit all those too. Final command none. Replace URL. Is only adding a new command. Define routes. Well, let's do whatever route does. Yeah, that's like a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, but that's like that's calling a function and then getting that command. Well, time route. A lot of nothing. From route. That server is the thing that can do stuff here. All right, yeah, there's initial model. This is gonna be full of this stuff. There's other places I like map only over. You can chain through a model and the final thing does. Isn't necessarily all model command pass-throughs, but well, it gets all the. Oh, you're actually add a command too. You're just adding a command. Yes, actually, a lot of this is we need to do model dependent and up. Okay, you're doing a small model update. A lot of things that don't. Well, okay, replace URL could do. No, replace URL is a bad command. Require recent lives, require selected lives. Yeah, a lot of these requires are okay, you're doing data layer update. Not quite. Command done, model update. So add a command covers some of them. For time update. It's probably the more problematic cases or the more involved cases where the errors actually creep in. So if we were to do something like add command, we would need a function that goes from a model to a command message. And this is generally going to be for things that are doing command dependent stuff. Really just inserting a, well, we have things that we were really just inserting a command and it could be a call that just, and it gives you, given a model command message, gives you another model. Not batch. Been doing this mostly so far. Type checks in and of itself. Change route to updates model location. I guess command.batch might be where we're looking. Well, we do that a lot too. In model, build worlds. So we have rebuild worlds, would have like and you would just generate that. This would be add command. Actually, you would just hurry. So that's small enough I could put add command in there. This leaves me the room to write stuff in the model later if I need. Update monuments is exactly the same thing. Oh, but you have server ID goes into your and oh no, this query, you still need model. You're doing a model update. You're doing a model update. You're doing a model update. Doing a model update down here. Add command was a function of a model. I still have to do model command, then have to do add command. I have to provide a function, so that's not necessarily a worthwhile one. That's a model update, that's a model update. Replace URL is itself just adding a command. Rail command. Specify that. This might be a simple enough case that you could and wherever. Find route is already a interesting beast. That is a model to command message. I copied more than I wanted to. There. Yeah, this is a model to command message is a model to model command message. So maybe there's a more general thing there. That would be model input only. You got a model command. We have functions which take an updated model. And might return a further updated model and time route location. Oh yeah, okay. You're taking location. Oh, you're all taking location. Go through some. We're currying the location updates till they receive a model. Combine route. The combine route is collecting all of commands at the end. It's a function, deals with functions that update the model. Well, nobody cares about income. So it's just slightly simplifying all of these things to not have to deal with incoming commands and carry them. Which is actually, wait. Model to command message, but you're not doing model updates. These are things that generate commands only. Those are things that can both update the model and generate commands. Okay, that seems somewhat reasonable. So we've got functions that can only generate commands. We've got functions given a current state. We've got the routing functions, which can both change the state and generate commands. That might be the only place we use that. That particular pattern. Check default center. You're checking a model property, but you might be updating center. There's a lot of nope cases there. There's the requires. But you update voting status. Your model only. You're actually similar to the combine route thing. You have command only anything that's command message, just so it can pass. Oh, and the only place we use this is command none. And we have to care that repair worlds does use. They're one of those things that doesn't actually care about the command. So you're kind of like an update function. Gets the model and remember. Um, I mean, maybe this is just an F situation. And combine route is, we can still have that, but it is just add an update function. And all of these model command message. Well, no, actually what I was looking for was model command message. Model command message. To rebuild worlds. I already stated that's a update monuments, add command. Shoot, what was I looking at? I know I saw things that were It was maybe set time. You only deal with commands in so much as you pass them. So you've got a maybe time. You deal with the model. And you are add update. Where this gets carried through. You don't even need to be a batch. That still needs to be a batch. Actually, it is. But this also gets all the other functions. That server does a model update, and it does. Okay, require monuments, require arcs, require space. Well, no function actually manipulate. Make it fit. Like rebuild worlds we fixed. Update monuments, check default center. Could be a model update. No, it's supposed to be model command. It could be in. I'm wondering if I should be continuing to have these like wrapper functions, which are convenient here. We need to kind of move that into our general. I mean, technically, the language of this is model command message, or is list monument returning a function that blah. You could type though. And you don't need to be a batch. return model. No, you still have to return a command none. Because this entire function might return. Maybe set time, set server follows this pattern. This is where, But none of you actually need to deal with commands in that. Right, so where is like that server require monument? Oh, you are of a server. I think that these functions can actually, they don't actually require a certain type. As long as everything matches. Of course, now M is ambiguous. Probably do model here. Of course, I haven't actually tried to abstract this to server yet. I don't actually see this abstracting over message, but or rather in practice. All of those are passing around server command message. And you're just passing through commands because that's how we make a chain of it. That's how we collect the commands at the end. This is a lot like change combine routes. And for this sort of special case, I could probably just skip the, update thing. You're going to collect a list of commands, but you don't need a list. Oh no, we're currying that. Require arcs gets the model and the server. Then we have the updated server model and the list of commands we did there. This, however, loses that thread of command for the time being. Require monuments. Oh, and then these have to be updated. Because you do not The only thing we might do with command is some selective ordering of, and now we're not a batch. Where that command goes. No, we're still producing. Let's produce commands. If it, that's require monuments. Oh, that was require monuments. Function can handle the argument passed through the pipe. The argument is server command message. That might be from the next function. Dot batch. And dot none. And it was require spans. Because I probably should have checkpointed before this particular. Require monuments. Argument is server. Spec server command. This is basically what I did for combine routes. And combine routes were perfectly happy to be add update. Add update. Or you add command? No, because you still update the state of the server, I think. Yeah, you still update the state of the server. So we need the model for additional context. Oh. No. That's still an argument. These. It was the if we like wrapped it up in a little helper. Argument is server. Function that expects server command message. Oh, okay. Because we're piping through here. Server. How do we use combine route? Okay, yes, it was a pair. Returning a new pair. Now the argument says it's a tuple type. Fire argument. Fire monument. Fire monuments model. Server command none. Equals S2 command. Argument is server. Function that expects server command message. Oh, okay. Yes, it was a pair. Returning a new pair. Now the argument says it's a tuple type. Fire monument model. Server command none. Equals S2 command. Where is this? Oh, we used require monuments elsewhere. Require spans. No. Require arcs. No. Okay, so just you. Guard types again. Okay, so require monuments itself. Only takes a server. So it could be much easier to actually go inline here. Oh, you still produce commands though. We have to have that server to insert it. Okay. Build worlds, update monuments, check default center, set server. All right, this is the thing we're kind of working on here. Where ultimately this is just adding command. This is used enough. We might want to wrap her. And I guess that command none was kind of all we needed. Well, no, we also changed the signature. And update. Set server update. Server ID. And little commands, you're gone. And you're not a command batch anymore. And this has to be command none. So we can no longer forget to pass through the command and main section. We still got this thing to do. Actually generating command. Okay. Hopefully that streamlines things a little bit. There might be, the other case would be you only need to do a model update, but that's already described as a model function. There's no batch and batchman that on the model before you. The only weird case there would be is if you had a model command message pair. There's a knit. That's it. Not passing anything through. So that's the first pass on that. Get current time. It's pretty close. I don't know if I like the names yet. Add command is no model update. Update is a step. Generates command. It's just collecting all of the stuff. All right, that's probably too late, if anything. But we did get we got use only in, we got selection to collected lives. Should change background layers. It'll be a bit more obvious if you go to server 1 and there's nothing there. You tend to end up kind of out in the middle of nowhere anyway. That should make sure there's nothing there. Get appropriate monument. All right, so I need to move around a little bit. So I am going to finish. I'm done programming. I am going to come back and do some Step Mania if anybody just wants to kind of hang out. Programming is over for now. Thanks to everybody who hosted me. This is probably a pretty typical time for me to be on. Kind of try to wrap up sometime around noon for me, even though that's almost a little bit late. But yeah, I will be back in a little bit. You want to watch the dance? Otherwise, thanks for hanging out. Bye.